Hey guys, Gathering the Magic back again, and this is part two of the Card Market Watch. Today is March 2nd, 2025, so we're going to do a deep dive into all the different sets, all the different rarity of cards, take a look at how many cards are in circulation, how many are on the market, and been excited to do this with the release of Survival Mode this last Thursday. So let's take a look and see if we can tell which cards have been drying up off the market and which ones have been moving up in price. So don't expect a whole lot of that in alpha, but looking at alpha cards, you can see here, low card is 46 cents. So we're starting to get more cards under $1. About a month and a half ago, there was only 4, maybe 5 cards that were under $1. But as you can see here, some of the prices have come down slightly, but some of these cards have very low liquidity. You can see there's only 5 copies of Spineback Wolf, 9 copies of Giant Rock, 7 copies of Fire Beetle. So still not a whole lot on the marketplace, but pretty much holding the prices where they have been for the last couple weeks. So 46 cents is the cheapest common, up to $1.36 for the Saber Shark. Going for your rare cards, now you start getting into some of the summer cards as well. So you've got $1.37 for Cerberus, $1.37 for Peacebringer, all the way up to, you've got 3 of your summoners here, right around $2. $3 for Ulrich, and surprisingly, Tyrus is the most expensive summoner at $4. The most expensive rare here, as you can see, Earth Elemental at $18.57, way overpriced compared to the other cards. But there's only 2 on the market, so that's why. Let's see if it's it is a combined copy. So you can see here, the cheapest card is a level 4. Per BCX, it's $2.32, which is more in line with where it should be for a rare from Alpha. So those are your rare cards. Let's move on to epics. So all 10 epics are represented here. So you've got $3.30 for Screaming Banshee, all the way up to $95 for the Mermaid, and that is for level 5. So you can see 21 BCX, $4.52 a piece. So those are your epics, and then finally your legendaries. And I think I mentioned in part 1 the reason that you had that $280 high-end legendary is simply because it is max level. And the reason there's 8 is because for alpha cards, alpha legendaries maxed out at 8 copies, not 11 like they are currently. So those are your alpha legendary cards. So now looking at the gold foil cards. So once again, you've got, just 1 card under 15. You've got 4 cards sitting here under 20 bucks, and then the price starts moving up. But even for common cards, you can see common gold foils, just how incredibly rare these are. There's only a handful of each of these on the marketplace. And then when you get to the top 5 cards, there's only single copies. So, Spineback Wolf, $2,600 is just simply because it's the only one listed on the market. Normally, I would say they should be anywhere from, it looks like $15 to maybe $200 for a common. These are pretty much overpriced. Your rares, you're looking at $35 for the cheapest rare for the Pit Ogre, all the way up to Tyrus, sitting at just under $3,000. Once again, you can see a lot of these are only single copies. Only 16 out of the 20 rares even have a copy available on the marketplace. Next, looking at your gold foil epics. So there's 8 of them here out of the 10. And once again, single copies for most of these. $375 for Defender of Truth, up to $1,500 for the Dark Enchantress. And then finally your gold foil legendaries. So currently the only gold foil alpha legendary card is a Selenia Sky for $12,000. You can see the total amount in circulation is only 22. All right, so now let's take a look at the alpha promo cards. So there was 1 card of each rarity. The legendary card is not for sale. The common card, Dragon Whelp, is at $640. Nebseni, the rare, is at $12.50. And then Royal Dragon Archer is sitting there at $55. The gold foil version, don't have a gold foil common. The rare is sitting at $3.99 and the epic at $9.50. So that's it for alpha. Let's move on to beta, just the core and reward cards. So the floor you're seeing here is 5 to 6 cents for beta. Still a decent amount on the marketplace, so it doesn't look like there's been a buyout of any of these. Creeping Ooze is one I think that's probably been purchased a lot for survival mode, but there's still 145 copies here. Healer, you would think Healer for survival mode, still 276 copies there, so there's still quite a bit on the marketplace. The cheapest or the most expensive common from beta is 66 cents for the Flesh Golem. So those are your common cards, your rare cards. 22 cents is the floor, Undead Priest, and Gremlin Blaster. So as I'm looking at the prices, I'm also looking at how many are available on the marketplace. Chicken, 64 the chicken, it's moved up to 55 cents. Most expensive rare, 235 for Medusa. Ulrich is right there at 225. Let's take a quick look just at the summoners from beta, the rares. So you're still looking at 45 cents is the cheapest to 225. So some of these I think have moved up slightly. Tyrus and Malric at $1.25. Let's look at epics now. So your cheapest epic, Phantom Soldier, is sitting there at 69 cents. All the way up to Talia is sitting at $4.45. So you can see 3 of the top 5 epics, and actually what, 5 epics are all the epic cards for the epics. Let's see, $3.40 for Kiara. How many are there of each? So 6 Kiaras, Daria 27, Xander 13, Zia 24. So decent amount, I guess, for being in epics from beta. But yeah, these I don't remember these being the top epics for beta recently. So this has moved a little bit, I believe. Time will tell to see if these dry up off the marketplace. I wouldn't think that these are in high demand, but once again, they're only 2 mana, so they do save you the mana for the low mana matches. They don't give any buffs, but one thing they do is they allow you to play some higher level cards than normal for certain tiers. Like normally if you have only 1 summoner, you can only cast level 1 cards across the board, but even with a single copy of these, you can cast level 2 commons, so maybe that's part of it. Okay, let's move on to the legendary cards. So your cheapest beta legendary is sitting at $3.90. All the way up to, once again, is Volnamore at $125. And that is for a single BCX. Other than that, they're all max copies. Looks like going anywhere from $474 to over $1,300. So not many single copies on the marketplace. There's 6 of him total. Selenia Sky, there's 7 total. Cryptmancer, 8. Prince Renan, 9. So just a handful of these legendary summoners. The one card I noticed, I don't remember it being this expensive, is Gold Dragon. So Gold Dragon is sitting there at $99. Now that is for level 2, so that's 3 BCX. But still, I don't remember that being a $33 card. So I'll have to go back and look at previous episodes of the Market Watch to see if this one has spiked a lot, because I don't remember it being that expensive. Okay, let's look at the gold foils now. See if there's been any unusual gold foil movement, because I believe these have a shorter cooldown than normal foils. So $1.82 for the Undead Minotaur. Creeping Ooze at $2. That seems pretty low. So not a lot of these on the market either. I'll have to go back, like I said, and watch previous episodes to just kind of key in on how many have been on the marketplace at any given amount, given period of time. Because now that I'm keying in on that, I'm seeing, very low numbers for most of these are 10 or less, up to $100 for the Divine Healer. Okay, let's look at rares. So rares, Cyclops sitting at $7.15, the Assassin sitting at $7.50. There's a gold foil summoner for under $9. $9 for Zintar, $12.54 for Liana, $11.64 for Malric. Gold foil chicken at $17. Gold foil Ulrich at $18.80. Up to, and of course you get the ridiculous price when you only have one, $600 for a Twisted Jester. And then your epics, $32.98 for the Swamp Thing, up to $175 for Talia. And then finally your gold foil legendaries from beta, Lord of Darkness is $345 up to $1,500 for Plato. So those are your gold foil legendary beta cards. And once again, look, basically 1 or 2 copies of all of these except for the Lord of Darkness. Okay, so now let's look at your promos. So the promo cards. Once again, the card that I usually keep an eye on for beta promos is always Delwyn, to see how his price is going, because usually he's been $1. There was a brief time, I believe a week or two ago, where he dropped down to 24 cents. Those were all scooped up. Now it looks like there's quite a few that are still under $1. So if you're looking to pick some up, you know, you can get maybe, I don't know, 20 copies or so under $1 if you would like to pick up a Dragon Summoner for survival mode. And you're just looking at putting a team together, you're not looking at max team. Dragonling Bowman sitting at 43 cents, pretty standard for him. Fiendish Harpy at $1.50, Red Dragon at $8, Archmage Arius at $5.99, and Prince Julian at $9.95. And then your gold foil versions, same as the last time on the Market Watch. Delwyn is just under 10, and Dragonling Bowman is sitting at 35. Okay, let's check out Orb. So this very small set, this will go quickly. Enchanted Defender is 6 cents. Armorsmith is up to 17. I can remember this card being under 10 cents, so this one has moved up. Goblin Chef at 18. Molten Ogre at 18 cents as well. I think it's moving up because, you know, first level 1 card with Demoralize. Your rares pretty consistently in the 25 to 30 cent range for those 3. Your epics, Dwarven Wizard is sitting at 70 cents, Mermaid Healer at $1.16, and then your 3 legendary cards, Lord of Fire $5.24, Minotaur Warlord $7.95, and Corrupted Pegasus at $8. Gold foil versions, $2.95 to almost $5 for the Armorsmith, $8.44 for Silver Shield Bard with Cleanse, up to $14, Undead Archer with Affliction. No epics for sale currently. And then your legendaries, the Minotaur Warlord, 2 copies starting at $700, and a single Corrupted Pegasus for $1,000. All right, let's move to Untamed, Core and Reward. So no surprise here that cheapest commons are 2 cents, but there's only 2 of them at 2 cents. And then you can see we're starting to get to 3 to 4 cents for commons. So I'm thinking that maybe some of these commons have been bought up for survival mode being so cheap. Let's see how some of the key cards are doing. Serpentine Spy still at 6 cents. Goblin Thief 7 cents. Parasitic Growth is at 10. Sandworms 11, and Failed Summoner is the key common here at 21 cents. Only 9 copies available. Okay, your rare cards sitting 5 cents for Dark Ferryman. Goblin Chariot at 7, so those are your 2 cheapest. Up to Shield Bearer's come down. I think wasn't he in the 30 or 40 cent range. Now he's down to 22. Most expensive 2 cards you can see are both summoners, Bortus and Drake of Arnex, sitting at 40 cents. Wizard of Eastwood, Contessa, and Mother Kala, all right around 20-21 cents. So there are still a few summoners out there that are affordable if you're looking just to pick up single BCX for survival mode. Your epics, 20 cents for Pyromancer, 21 cents for Torhilo the Frozen. There we go, now we got the correct graphics. All the way to $1.45 for the Chief. Your legendary cards starting at $1.09 for Ancient Lich, all the way up to the key cards. So Kitty came up a little bit from earlier today. She was sitting at $38.50. Now she's up to $40. Yoden is $37.52. Look at this. Almo Cambio is sitting at almost $29. Now, is that for multiple BCX? No, single copies. So not very many Almos on the market. All single BCX, and it looks like it's going to run you about 30 bucks. All by the same seller as well. Llama sitting just under 22. Cornelius at 620. Kron's had a little bit of a boost. He was down, what, to around 5 bucks, 5.5. He's back up to 750. Some other cards I like looking at: Phantom of the Abyss under 4, Dragon Jumper 281. So those are your Untamed Legendary cards. Now let's take a look at the gold foils. Still about the same. Your cheapest gold foil commons are sitting just above 50 cents a piece. Take a look at the print runs, how many are in the market. All the way up to the most expensive, really, Horny Toad at $18.45. And that is for a single BCX. But as you can see here, you can get a max level copy for $1 per BCX for $38. So definitely don't pay $18.45 for a single copy of Horny Toad. All right, moving on to the rares. So $2.21 for Giant Squid, $2.25 for Spark Pixies. Those are the two cheapest. Contessa is sitting at $2.65. That sounds pretty reasonable for a gold summoner. Bortus at $4.20. Pyre at $5. Drake of Arnik at $5. Wizard of Eastwood, Mother Kalia, right around $6. And most expensive is Unicorn Mustang at $13.61. Those are your rares. Your epics start at $11 for Onyx Sentinel, $12 for the Harpoonist, all the way up to $175 for Soulstorm. But once again, look, the top three that are 50, 100, 175, there's only single copies of each. That's why the price is so high. And then finally, your gold legendary cards starting at $60 for the Guardian, $70 for Bilo the Radiant, all the way to $17.50 for a Kitty, or $27.50 for the Scale Doctor. And once again, just single copies of both of those. 5 copies of Yoden. No Llama, so there's no Sacred Llama gold foil this week currently on the marketplace. Okay, let's look now at your promo cards. So your two promo cards, the Alchemist and the Chain Golem. The Alchemist is $1.46, with the gold foil being $99.50. Chain Golem is sitting at $4.99 with the gold foil at $475. So those are your promos. Let's look at dice. So dice, 3 to 8 cents for the commons, pretty standard here. Usually Flamesmith is the most expensive because of the shatter, but he's currently halfway down the list. Rares, these are your summoners, of course. 20 cents for Vera, 24 for Quid Yuff, 21, 29 copies there. Ouster, 16 copies there for 50 cents starting out. Lorna Shine, 34 copies starting at 88 cents. Bright and Bloom, 13 copies for $1.15. And then Mylor, only 16 copies starting at $1.95. Then your 3 epics here, 23 cents up to 68 cents for Grenadier. And then finally your legendary cards. Krallis has taken over the top spot over Epona. Krallis is sitting at $15. Epona is sitting at $14. And then your gold foil versions, you're looking at 53 cents for the Goblin Dartling. All the way up to Nagabrute is sitting at $1.39. Your gold foil rares for your summoners. Surprisingly, Mylor is not the most expensive. He's sitting there at $14.25. Bright and Bloom is at $18.85. 5 copies available. Yep, those are single copies. So a single copy at just under 19, a single copy for 21, and then it jumps for a single copy for almost $45. So for that much, you could, or for 25, you can get a a level 4. There's a level 6 for 67. How about, let's check out Mylor. Is any max Mylors? So there are actually 4 max gold foil Mylors on the market, $235 to $240 for a max Mylor. Okay, let's move on to the epics. So your 3 epic cards are here. Still not sure why Dragon Spirit is so overpriced compared to the other 2 epics. And then finally your legendary cards, $59 for Poseidon, all the way up to $300 for Aganju, no gold foil Epona or Crowless. Okay, let's move to everyone's favorite set that will be retired, I guess, from Modern in a few short weeks. Chaos Legion. So what has Chaos Legion done? So this is the set that I really wanted to look at because so many people have just an overabundance of Chaos Legion cards, and I thought, okay, everybody's gonna be purchasing tons of them to play survival mode. We're gonna see them disappear off the market and all that. As you can see here, even some of the kind of the staple cards there's still just so many of them out there. You can see over 1,600 copies of the Pelacor Bandit on the market, over 2,200 of the Conjurer. So price has not moved up on these, just too much supply, and even with people picking up a ton for survival mode, there's still a ton out there, at least of those cards. But as we go down the list, there's a couple cards, but at 2-3 cents, but very, very few. Scavo Hireling has continued to be the top common, sitting at 5 cents, and then you've got Deep Lurker and Goblin Psychic sitting at 3. Other than that, everything is still a penny or 2, and there's still tons and tons of these on the marketplace. Then looking at your rares, of course, the floor for the rares is still sitting at 2 cents. Still a ton of these on the market, as you can see. With the exception, if you can kind of notice here, the Venari Crystal Smith, I've noticed a lot of movement on this. Just as far as people taking these cards off the market, you can see there's 1,100, over 1,000 of most of these. But then you get to the Crystal Smith, and there's only 248 copies available. Another card is kind of surprising, Portal Spinner. Maybe it's just people aren't listing them, but there's only 83 of those on the market. Most of these other ones are at least in the hundreds, if not more. When you start getting to more of the played cards like Cursed Windiku, there's still 179 on the market, still sitting at 5 cents. And then, of course, the Summoners, which I thought would be drying up, I guess, a little bit more. But there's still, over 150 of each of these on the marketplace. And actually the one that there's the most of is Kelia, 449 copies for sale, starting at 26 cents. So there's still opportunities here to get pretty cheap Summoners, even if you don't want single copies and you want to buy these and level them up and play in survival mode. Like I said, it just went live last Thursday, so it'll be interesting to see in the next few weeks, next couple of months. Survival mode seems to have been well received at the start. We'll see if these Summoners kind of dwindle off the market in the coming weeks and months. Okay, looking at your epic cards, 9 cents is the floor for your epics, up to 38 cents for Wave Brood. One card that I've seen that has moved up a little bit is Jin Shawala. This used to also be, one of the floor cards, 9-10 cents. But everyone knows this is just such a great card to have. Even a single BCX, that copies of this have moved up to 13 cents. Same thing with Uraeus, that was constantly a 9-10 cent card, and that one's moved up to 16. So a couple of the epic cards have moved up slightly in price. And then for the legendary cards, the one thing that I've noticed is the floor has moved up to almost 50 cents even for the cheapest Chaos Legion legendary card. For a while we were getting down to maybe 43 or 44 cents for the cheapest legendaries. Now they're pushing 50 plus. And a couple of the cards have moved up, like Jin Ushanis is usually like 45, 50 cents. He's up to 63. Senesh is up to 66 cents. But still, the Summoners are still sitting right around $2 for each of the legendary Summoner. Spirit Hoarder, I noticed earlier today, was the top card. Only 12 on the marketplace at $1.90. So this card is kind of, I would say, doubled in price. It's usually been here, right around $1 or just barely above $1. So it's almost up to almost 2. So I think this is a very popular card for survival mode, with the triage and being neutral. So this has been one of the cards that people have targeted for survival mode. Okay, let's look at the gold foil commons. So gold foil commons starting at 14 cents. 14 cents for the Venari Knifer, 15 cents for the Scrapper and Chaos Knight. Then you start getting 16 cents plus, all the way down to the most expensive card, Scavo Hireling, at 83 cents. And look at this, Pellicor Bandit, only 6 on the market. Cheapest is 48 cents. One thing I want to look at too, since you guys know I'm big into gold foils for land, let's see how many max level common cards there are gold foil for land. So right now there's only a single copy, a single card I should say, that is under $7 for a max gold foil common, and that's Gargoyle Lion. Probably the cheapest because it's neutral, so it won't give you that bonus. Other than that, the next cheapest card is one of my favorite cards, the Vampire Bat. He's sitting there at $7.25, only a single max copy on the marketplace. So land should be out 1.75 sometime this month. So I'm wondering when we get the renewed interest in land, people start thinking about it more. It actually goes live and people start being able to utilize their land more. You're going to have more resources that your land will provide if people are going to be picking up more workers for their land. So now you're looking at, for most of these, $8 to $10 for a lot of the max level copies. Some of the more key cards, of course, are going to be more. You start getting to deep lurkers, 13. The Psychic is $17.50. Scavo Hireling at 32. The Mercenary not too long ago, he was $6 to $8 for max gold foil. Now he's sitting at 11. There's only 4 copies here, so these cards have definitely been drying up off the market. And then looking at your gold rares, once again, the floor for these used to be around just about 50 cents. 55 cents to 60 cents was kind of the low end for a gold rare. Now you're pushing 80 cents, getting close to $1. And as we scroll down the list, one thing you will see is the top card is Venari Crystalsmith, a gold healer, $3. That is for a single BCX, and there's only 7 of these on the marketplace. So people have definitely been targeting that card for survival mode, being the healer. And you'll notice Kelia is second, which I guess would be kind of expected being a summoner. But then look at some of the other cards that have kind of moved up in price that are above summoners. You've got Vampiric Blossom at $2.80, Exploding Rats at $2.48, Venari Seedsmith sitting at $2.09, probably because of Scavenge. You notice Scavenge cards looks like they're starting to tick up as well. Double strike cards, the Infiltrator sitting at $1.80. So it's not just like how it has been in the last few months where your top cards have been usually the summoners and then maybe a healer in there. So now you're starting to get some other cards that are moving up, at least for gold foil. And then next is let's take a look too at how many max gold rares are on the market. So if you're interested in these for land, so now these look like they're going to push you $20 plus for a gold foil rare. So you've got 3 of them here. And like I said, if you get like a neutral, that's usually the cheapest because it doesn't give you a bonus. So other than the neutral Gargoyle Devil, you've got the Firebolt sitting at $19 for fire. He is the cheapest. And then quickly moves up to $60 all the way for Venari Wavesmith. So not a lot of max copies on the marketplace. You can see a lot of these cards there's a lot of cards that aren't represented on this list. So if we look at all levels, there's 39 cards available, but at max level, there's only 17. So not very many of these at all for the gold foil rares. Okay, and then when we get to epic cards, my favorite for land, there's a Temporal Master at $3.64. Narissa sitting at $4. Going all the way up to $10 for Uraeus. There's only 2 copies available. both single BCX copies. So he's been bought up pretty much off the market. So those are your gold foil epics. And then how many max copies are there? Look at that, guys. There's only 4 available for gold foil epics. You've got 1 Magi of Chaos for 39, 1 Wave Brood for 55, 3 Narissas, cheapest is 56, and then a single Insidious Warlock for 71. So the gold foil epics have been drawing off the market. Now, usually when I purchase them, I only get, 1 BCX at a time or whatever I can afford. So I don't usually key in on getting max copies, but this just kind of shows you there's not very many on the marketplace. Well, you can see here, a lot of these are under 10 copies available, or just barely 10 copies for a lot of these cards. So definitely been drying up. And then finally, your gold foil legendaries, 3 cards away from getting the floor to 20 bucks plus, actually $21 for the floor other than these 3 here. And you will notice all 3 of these that are the cheapest gold foils are neutrals. So it looks like people have really been scarfing these up for land. 20 bucks or so, you get 2,500 production points. Let's go through the list here so you guys can kind of take a look. So being as overprinted as Chaos Legion was, there really isn't that many gold foil legendaries. I mean, there's under 1,000 for most of these, and then when you look on the marketplace, for most of them, there's like 10 or less of almost all of these cards. Genoshanis, there's 13 of that one. Hardclaw, there's 11. Desert Dragon, there's 13, but look, Countess Sinesh, there's only a single copy, 199. Jared Scar, single copy, 120. Lily Shieldpaw, there's only 2 copies at 110. So gold foil legendaries look like they have definitely been targeted recently, and the price is showing that. Okay, so that's it for the Corn reward. Let's look at the Soulbound cards. So for your Soulbound cards, I think I mentioned this in part 1. Fungus Flinger, 26 cents has moved up, and then this has happened since earlier today. Imperial Knight at 49 cents. Is that right? Yes, so Imperial Knight has seen a buyout today and then relisted much, much higher. Typically, that has been, a 5 to 10 cent card, and now it is 49. Fungus Flinger, I can, understand that with the Martyr, but this has happened just in the last couple hours. Then looking at your rare cards, 25 cents is the floor, up to 49 cents. As you can see, your summoners are usually your most expensive card, along with Venari Marks Rat and Ravenhood Warden seem to be the keys. But actually, all these cards are fantastic. They did a great job designing these for the Soulbound set. Your epics sitting at $1.05 for Idri Fire, up to $1.71 for Noah the Just. Still a decent amount of each of these on the market. And then finally your legendary cards. There were 12 in the set. They are all represented on the marketplace. Looks like anywhere from, what's the lowest, 4 for the Hulk up to 18 copies of Soriel the Bale, ranging in price from $5.50 up to just under $12 for Izziar. And then your gold foil versions, $1.17 for Ferox Defender, up to $2.95 for Damaki Orc. And you can see this is almost double the price of all the other commons. So this is definitely, it looks like, the most desirable common from the set. Your rares, including your summoners, basically right around the $6 range up to just under $8 for Helios Matriarch. Then your gold foil epics, of course, these are more expensive because it costs more to unlock these. Idri Fire sitting at $27.50 up to $80 for Evelyn. And then finally your legendaries. So out of the 12 cards, 8 are represented here, ranging from $118 for Usut up to $225 for Barracks Snake Eye. All right, so now let's go to your promo cards. So your 2 common promo cards, Archimus the Bear is sitting at 10 cents, still 312 available on the market. Varuz is sitting at 12 cents, just over 100 on the market. Oh Sure sitting at $6.93. Dr. Blight, $8.17, 21 available. Zerial at $13.59, 8 copies available. Waka Spirit Blade, $189, 6 available. And then Lux Vega, $208.99, 8 available. And your gold foils, you can see Archimus the Bear has moved up to 2. Vruz has moved up to 425. So big movement on gold foil Vruz cards over the last 2 weeks. Oh Sure sitting at 55. As I mentioned in part 1, Dr. Blight 2 weeks ago was 41. He's now exactly doubled. He is now $82. And you can see there's only one gold foil Dr. Blight on the marketplace. Zerial sitting at $120. And then a single copy of Lux Vega for $27.50. And a single gold foil Waka Spirit Blade for $10,000. So those are your promos. Now let's look at Rift Watchers. So what has been going on for Rift Watchers? Let it load the correct graphics. So the one card that kind of moved up, usually it had been Ash Mirage was the most expensive in the set. Now you can see some other cards have passed it. And the big leader this week is Damaki Exile, sitting at 23 cents, over twice as much as the next most expensive common card. So this card has moved up a lot in the last week or so. Rares, probably no surprise, Queen of Crows is still number 1, but her price has moved up to 50 cents. I believe it was 25 to 28, somewhere in there, 2 weeks ago, and there's only 15 copies of her on the marketplace. Epics. So earlier today, I think Aquatis was number 2, so he's moved down to the 5th spot, but still 42 cents for Aquatis. Remember when Aquatis and Dahlin were both in the 20-some cent range, where they're both moving up in price. Decent amount of these on the market. Cheapest is Scargor at 40, Aquatis at 42, Dahlin at 53 cents, Fernheart at 59, Thispa at 63 cents, and then Ilthane continues to lead the pack at $1.18. And your legendary cards, also mentioned in part 1, Inevitable, once again has hit that $30 mark that it hit several months ago, where it seemed to consistently be in the $30, and then we saw it fall under 20, and it seemed to be pretty consistent in that $18 to $20 range. Well, now it's moved back up to 30, and that is for single BCX copies. As you can see here, after that $30 copy sells, your next cheapest is 34, then quickly 38, and then 40. So not very many of these on the marketplace. Even leveled up versions are still going to cost you $30 or more for most of the BCXs that are available on the marketplace. So not many copies of Inevitable, and the ones that are there are moving up in price. Okay, and now for your gold foil versions. 18 cents is the cheapest for Lycan Beast, up to Whelp Herder at $1.05. So if you are looking to pick up Damaki Exile, it looks like the best way to do it is just to get a gold foil. A single gold foil will be level 3 that you can get for 46 cents rather than paying, what was it, 23 cents per BCX. So if you're looking for that card, definitely check out the gold foil version first. For your rares, 77 cents for Sea Stalker, up to Queen of Crows, sitting there at $2.85. Your epics, which are your summoners, Quatis is the cheapest at $4.70, and then Ilthane is the most expensive at $10.19. So you can see not very many of these on the marketplace. And then finally your gold foil legendaries, 11 of the 12 are represented here. $200 for Inevitable. It is the only copy available in gold foil. Okay, now let's finish this off by looking at Rebellion. So your core Rebellion, let's start with the common cards. So you're looking at 7 cents for the floor for some of the commons from Rebellion, all the way up to, let's just look at the regular foils for now, 46 cents for Brewmaster. Common cards have started to move up for the summoners. Most of them, you know, have been in the 28 to maybe 38 cent range for quite a while. Earlier in this week, I saw all 5 of these above 40 cents, and I was like, oh, here we go. Now they're going to start pushing 50. A couple of them have come down in price a little bit, but you can see we're just slowly trending up to, 40 cents being the floor and up from there. So it'll be interesting to see when Conclave Arcana comes out, what the summoners look like, how they synergize with Rebellion, and if people are still going to desire these cards. I mean, if for some reason the common or rare summoners aren't impressive, people may go back to some of these summoners. So time will tell for that. Your rare cards, 9 cents for the demon. Other than that, 13 cents plus for your rare cards. Then let's look at some of the key cards in the set. So $2.19 for Moxian Rebels. That's way above $2. Avenio the Wolf is pretty consistently right around $1. Soothsayer at 90 cents. Silverblade Fighter at 60 cents. Underboss Fabino at 58. Prophet Rose at 48 cents. The Bolter at 54. So at least for Rebellion cards, it doesn't look like there has been any kind of a buyout of these for survival mode. Let's take a look at the Epic cards. You're looking at right around 60 cents for the floor. All the way up to some of the key cards. Iron Hood, who has the weapons training, is just over $1. Palace is sitting at $1.69. Captain Fellblade, $2.10. Satha Toledo at $2.37. And then finally, your legendary cards. Talked about a lot of the key cards in part 1. Cheapest is $3. Moving on up to, and this card has moved up since earlier today when Tofu was an even $50, is now $57.99. Okay, let's take a look at the gold foils. So 70 cents for the Drudge, 78 cents for the Chaos Lackey. All the way to, surprisingly, Gablano Soldier is the most expensive at $6. Usually it's been, of course, the summoners that have been the most expensive, along with the healer. Going toward your rare cards, so you're looking at basically $1.25 plus for your cheapest gold foil rares, up to your summoners and Moxian Rebel, which will run you $18. Your gold foil epics, $7.50 for Executioner Kron is the cheapest. Up to Captain Fellblade, $16.50, Krar at $20.99, and Satha Toledo at $25. And then finally, your gold foil legendary cards, $38 for Zabajin, all the way to Dark Dead Blast at $580, and that is for a single BCX, as you can see. When I saw that earlier, I'm like, okay, that's for, a level 3 or a level 4. Nope, that is for a single BCX. So that is over twice the price of a Tofu. Okay, so let's look now at your reward cards. And let's look at your regular commons. No surprise here. 9 to 10 cents for common cards, pretty standard. Your rares, you're looking at 33 to 47 cents. A decent amount of most of these on the marketplace. Your 7 epic cards, all represented here. Generally where they are, just under $2 to, $2.50, somewhere in that range. So nothing too surprising here. Decent amount of these on the marketplace. And then finally your legendary cards, $9.90 for the Warborn Chieftain, up to $15 for Surly Drunk, with a handful of each of these available for sale. Your gold cards, you see $1.90 for the Elder, up to $5.50 for Broken Earth Thug. Your gold foil rares, only half are available on the marketplace. $11 for Dark Arborist, up to $24.99 for the Dragon Egg Forger. So people are not putting up the gold foil rares. I had heard a good suggestion. I'm trying to remember who suggested it, but they said it would be, I don't know if someone wants to put it up as a proposal, but one of the key things that is holding people back from unlocking soulbound cards is the fact that you have to put up the DEC ahead of time, spend the money, put it on the market, and then hope it sells. What they suggested was being able to list a card for what you want to sell it for, and then when it does sell, then you are charged that DEC, and that is deducted from your selling price. So you're able to list it on the marketplace for sale, but you don't have to put up the cost up front. So I thought that was a pretty interesting idea. So I'm curious to see if that is made a proposal at some point in the future, because especially for like your epics and legendaries, you know, it's so expensive to unlock these things, and then just to let them sit for weeks or months and hope they sell, you know, so you can make, I don't know, $2, $3, $4 or whatever it is, you know, is very risky. So I would be interested to see if that's something that's going to come to pass in the coming weeks. You can see the epics here, Halfling Refugee starting at $36 up to $69 for a Shock Trooper. And then legendaries, no gold foil legendary reward cards currently. And then finally, we will look at your promo cards. Of course, your only common promo card, the Mana Warden, sitting at 15 cents, the gold foil at $3.98. Your rare cards, Henchling Enforcer, 88 cents, Shaman sitting at 2, Moss Mender at $2.30, Night Stalker at $2.46, Vicar sitting at $3.70. Look at this, Rune Arcanist, $4.45, only 2 copies on the market, regular foil. And Grimbarden Smith back up to $5, only 13 copies available. And then your gold foil versions, the Enforcer is sitting at $5.98, Moss Mender at $16, Warborn Shaman at $16.50, Grimbarden Smith down to $18.30, Night Stalker at $24.44, Sanctus Vicar at $25, and then a single copy of Rune Anarchist at $129. And then for your legendary promo cards, Baron Fiat continues to move up. He's just under $7 at $6.98. Alfka sitting at $16.63. Manaroth continues to slide lower. It's down to $25.50. Nefket sitting at $41. Fizbo sitting at $46.34. Only 5 copies on the market. Also only 5 copies of Delia, sitting at just under $60, as is Eleanor. Only 4 copies of Eleanor Bravefoot. And then finally, most expensive legendary, Rick Loneman at $80.08. And then looking at your gold foil versions, Baron Fiat, $65.24. Only a single gold foil Mantaroth for $150. 10 copies of Ulfga on the marketplace at just under $200. Nefket and Fizbo sitting here at $420. For the gold foil, only a single copy of Fizbo gold foil. Delia sitting at $5.95. And then finally, a single copy of Eleanor Bravefoot for $850. So overall, from what I expected from survival mode, a little bit of movement, but you know, it just started last Thursday. Now that people have a little bit of an understanding of how it works, and maybe have seen some other decks and have some key cards in mind, when we do the next episode of the Card Market Watch 2 weeks from now, I think we're really going to see a lot more movement in cards, particularly from Chaos Legion, since it is the most affordable set, and in my opinion, a lot more powerful than Rebellion. So I'm curious to see in the next couple weeks if we're going to see a lot of these rare summoners dry up, if we're going to see certain key legendary cards continue to move up in price that may be underpriced. Time will tell, but definitely exciting times in Splinterlands. Survival mode, I think, has breathed some new life into the game. Like I said, in the next probably 2 weeks or so, maybe towards the end of the month, we're going to get the next phase of land out, which is, you know, going to be pretty good. And then shortly after that, in early April, we should be getting into the pre-sale for Conclave Arcana. So definitely a good time to be in Splinterlands. Things are definitely happening here in the first quarter. Hope you guys are excited. Hope you enjoyed the Market Watch. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. Of course, next weekend will be the Land Market Watch, which will be pretty exciting and well timed because that might be right around the time 1.75 comes out. So stay tuned for that next Sunday. Hope you guys are doing well. Also, if you would please, I am posting content on Peak D under my name for my main account, Jovac. So if you like this type of content and would like to help support the channel, please head over and become a follower. I will update my Peak D with my Market Watch videos and that kind of thing. So that will be here. Not sure why it's not showing now. Don't want to just show you the white screen, but definitely just head on over to Peak D and give me a follow. Would much appreciate it. And if you like the content, think about giving me an upvote. Okay, guys, there you have it for the Market Watch. Like I said, hope you guys are doing well. Please leave any comments, any questions, any future content you would like to see. I'll get to that as quickly as I can. And until next time, stay the course, keep on forging and have fun, and I will see you again soon. Take care.